Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is teacher Ilona Smith. Today, grade 11s, we're looking at production function. So stay tuned and I hope you guys enjoy this video. All right, production function, let's get started. Here is the learner book that I've used to create the slides for this video today. I have used the information as is. As you guys know, for business studies, we use the information as is. We study it word for word, we write it word for word. Therefore, changing the wording will change the context, which may disadvantage you, and that's not what I want to do. So I take no credit in the information in these slides. I've done this for purposes to help learners with revision, to help them with the content, and to help them to better understand this chapter specifically. All right, introduction. So in grade 10, you did this topic, but you did it as part of the 8 business functions, which also included marketing, you had general management, you also had finance, and there were quite a few more. So in grade 11, we are going to elaborate further on production specifically. We're going to look at the production systems, the production planning, the safety management, quality and control, as well as production costs. All right, so understanding the production system as a whole. So we look at the role of the production function. The production function involves the process by which raw materials are transformed into finished goods of high quality to meet the demands of the customers. To ensure that these processes are efficient and effective, businesses need a good production management system. A system is an orderly arrangement of parts to achieve a specific outcome. Therefore, businesses must decide which production system will best suit their needs. To choose the best production system, they must consider these 3 criteria: the product variety, the volume of the products that need to be produced, and then the machinery and equipment that will be used. So in short, when I think production system, I think to myself of the Simba factory, the Coca-Cola factory, even Nestle. So the production system, we are producing our products. So it needs to go in a certain order, and then we look at a factory. So that's where the variety of our product. So if we've got one product, then it's going to be easier to do a production line. If there's a lot of variety and it's very specialist products, then we might need to look at more of a specialist approach. And then also the volume. So if we are doing it order by order, we could do it ourselves. If we are doing it on mass order for big companies, then we might need to look at a production line and a huge warehouse and a factory to produce our products. So there are 2 main types of production management systems. There's a continuous or flow production, and then there's an interrupted production system. So the continuous, that's if we're looking at our bottling, so it's continuously flowing, it's constantly moving. During the day, we are constantly making products. The interrupted, we're looking at batch or job production. We are going to look at these 3 at the bottom in more detail. So your batch production, perhaps we're making biscuits, but we're making different batches. This batch is vanilla biscuits, then we're making chocolate biscuits, then we're making peanut butter flavored biscuits. So that's where we need to choose our production system, but it'll be based on what type of products we are making. All right, so let's look at each of these in detail. So, mass production, definition. This is also known as flow production or continuous production because it's never ending, it keeps on moving. It is the production of large amounts of standardized product in a constant flow. Example of these include pencils, car manufacturing, and bottling of water. The characteristics. The following are the main characteristics of the mass production system. Large amounts of standardized products will flow through the system. Products are identical and they go through the same process. So you see, that's where we're not looking at specialized stuff. So they're identical, they look all the same. Products move on an assembly line, on a production line to the next station. Each worker is trained to do a specific job and he specializes in that job. The equipment and machinery that are used are highly specialized and expensive. The mass production speeds up the production process and it reduces the cost of the production. The unit cost of the product is cheaper. Why? Because we're doing it on a production line and it's all the same. The mass production process is inflexible and cannot accommodate new products. The quality of the products is the same and the quality control can be planned and carefully executed. So another example there on the right with the picture is also we can look at bottling of oil. So now we're looking at the advantages and the disadvantages of mass production. So the advantages include the production process is quicker, which will make the turnaround time faster. The unit cost of products is cheaper and therefore the final price of the products can be reduced. The quality of the products is standardized, therefore it's easier to do the quality control. Workers are specialized in a specific job and it's easier to train them for that job. Work can be done continuously if using different shifts and operators. So even if there are shifts where workers work, they're all doing their specific job. So it's going to be easy for us to do that. Also, I just wanted to go back to the quality control. There will be certain stages within this mass production where we check for quality. Disadvantages of mass production. It is very expensive to set up a factory and to buy the specialized machinery. So essentially, it's going to be quite expensive to do. The mass production process is inflexible. Therefore, it doesn't allow for unique products. So if we are producing pencils, now perhaps we want to produce a different type of pencil. Maybe we want to have a different covering for the pencil because maybe it's breast cancer month and we want to make them pink pencils. Now it's going to be difficult because it's mass production. We can't make it unique and we can't change it up and make it different because it does the same thing continuously. Workers can get bored because of the process is very repetitive. If one piece of machinery breaks, the whole production process is stopped. Why? Because it's continuous. So therefore there's one break. Let's look at it like a circle. If there's one break in the circle, it can't continue to flow. The equipment often requires specialized operators who will earn higher salaries. So it's going to be quite expensive. Now we're looking at batch production. Definition. With batch production, products go through a process in groups and are completed from beginning to end before a new batch is then started. Examples of batch production include printing flyers, different posters for different clients, baking cakes and other specialized delicacies in a bakery, also making uniforms for a specific sports team. So if there's a school that wants their sports clothing to be done, then obviously we're going to do it in one batch. Another school wants also the sports clothing, but it's a different branding, so we're obviously going to have it as a different batch that we're doing. Okay, same as cakes. If we are making vanilla cakes, chocolate cakes, red velvet cakes, it's all going to be done in a certain batch. The characteristics. The following are the main characteristics of both batch production systems. Products are not produced continuously, but rather in batches. They can be flexible and a variety of different products can be made. The machinery used is not as expensive as that in mass production. Workers can specialize in a certain part of the process, which will increase the productivity. New products can easily be included into the production process. The reason why new products can be included is because we can do it in batches. The quantity of the product can be changed easily, and this can reduce wastage. New products can easily be included into the process. The costs can be higher than mass production, but not too high because large batches of the similar products can be produced. Larger quantities of raw materials and final goods need to be stored and kept to accommodate different products and clients. There can be time delays in waiting for one batch to finish before the next batch is started. The advantages of batch production. The advantages of batch production. The setup cost is lower because the machinery is not as expensive as that in mass production. Quantities of batches can be controlled, which will reduce the wastage. There is more flexibility in this process and it's easier to change to the new products. Cost is lower because large batches of similar products can be produced at the same time. Businesses can take advantages of buying raw materials in bulk. Now the disadvantages of batch production. It's not always as easy to control the quality of the product, and that does not always meet the standards and requirements of the customer. Time can be wasted while waiting for one batch to finish before another batch can get started. More storage space is needed to store the final goods because we're doing them in batches and there's lots of different goods that we are making. Batch production often requires a lot of different machinery, which can be costly for the business. And the reason that the machinery is going to be different is because every batch that we're making could be different from the other. Some workers may get demotivated if they are not specialized in one task. Now we're looking at job production. The definition. With job production, each order for a job is unique and needs specialized workers, creative ideas, and different techniques. Examples of job production are wedding dresses, tailor-made sailboats, and specific oil paintings. So if you think about making an oil painting, every oil painting you're making is different. And you could even have a client that could ask for a specific painting of the scenery that they saw on holiday, or perhaps of their wedding. So each one is going to be different from the other. So the characteristics. The following are the main characteristics of job production. Each client will give his or her own unique ideas, which must be included in the final product. The machines used tend to be for general purposes and can be used for different products. The cost of items will be higher because the products are customized. Especially if we're looking back at the dresses, the tailor-made wedding dresses. A specific client might like these type of beads, and this client wants more of the applique, the beading done differently. This one wants more sequins. This one wants more flowers and beading. So it's going to be expensive because we need to actually go out and buy those different items. Even if we think about making bridesmaids dresses, each one is going to want to have a different color for their bridesmaids. The one might want to have a material that stiffens the material, if you know what I mean. So we need to actually go out and go buy this new material every single time, which could make it expensive. The quality of each product is excellent because it is made to the customer's specifications. Workers are skilled and the cost of the work will be higher. The process takes longer because each item is unique. Raw materials cannot be bought in bulk and it will cost more. The advantages of job production. Employees will not get bored because every job will be different. The demand for unique products is often higher. The quality of each individual product is high and quality control will be applied throughout the whole process. The setup cost is not so high because standardized machinery will often be used. The business can charge higher prices because the products are made to these specific specifications. The disadvantages of job production. Labor costs will be higher because workers must be highly skilled. Raw materials are costly as they cannot be bought in bulk. The process takes more time because each item is made to specific or certain specifications. The cost per item is normally higher. Why? Because it is specialized. It's not possible to automate the process. So we can't make it like an automatic continuous process because everything is specialized. Everything is going to be different. Now we're looking at the production planning. So the meaning of the production planning. After a business has decided on the production management system that they will use, they need to plan the production process. Production planning involves several aspects. These are setting the goals for the production department and developing the policies and programs to achieve these goals. Organizing resources to maximize workplace efficiency, to decrease cost and time, and to increase output. Planning the individual roles of staff, ordering of stock, and so on. Everything up to the final delivery of the product must be planned. There will always be changes in the manufacturing process, and that is why planning must be done accurately and carefully. Production planning must include the following aspects: the actual production, the inventory and stock that's needed, the factory layout, and the production costs. The aspects to consider during production planning are planning, routing, scheduling, and loading. Let's look at all of them in further detail. Planning. Production planning is planning each aspect of the whole process. The following aspects are part of the production planning process. The process will include the layout of the factory that will suit the production system. Watch a lot of these videos on, I think it's called How Is It Made? Or How Is It Made? Or something like that, where they actually show you the process. And then look at how they make Dorito chips. Look at how they do bottling of like Coca-Cola. The layout of the factory will look different depending on what we are producing. It will determine the flow of materials to optimize the process. It must include decisions on the purchasing of materials, machinery, and equipment. The process must include budgets, machines, and the calculation of how many workers will be required to achieve the expected output. Now, remembering with mass production, a lot of it is done by the machines. I think, again, if you've watched these how-to videos, you'll see a lot of it's done by the machinery, and there's very little that is done by actual workers. So that's where we need to actually have the plan in place of how many workers will we need and where will we need them. Routing. Routing involves the planning of the sequence in which the operation will take place. Management must determine the best and the cheapest way to sequence the production process and how it will be. Routing will look at the following questions. So, what quality and type of raw material will be used? In what sequence will the manufacturing process take place? What are the specifications? So, for example, what is the size of the final product? And what is the cost analysis for the whole process? Now we're looking at scheduling. Scheduling involves the timing of the production process. It will also prioritize certain jobs and determine which jobs need to be completed before the next one can start. The following can be considered as aspects of scheduling. So if we're looking at the production of a car, in order for us to do the spray painting of the car, we need to have the outer shell done. In order for us to put the engine into the car, we also need the parts to be there we can't just put the engine there. We actually need the bonnet, and we need, I'm not very specialized for cars, but you get where I'm coming from. We can't install the windows without having the door frames there. All right, so scheduling. The routing and loading of both labor and machinery. We need to look at the calculation of time required to perform each activity in the production process. So we need to look at how long is the assembly going to take? How long is it going to take to put in all the upholstery, the chairs, and all of that for the car? How long will the spray painting take? How long will it take to put in all the different parts like the steering wheel and the engine and the wheels and all of that? Determination of when each activity should start, then calculating the time required to complete the whole process. Determination of the time needed for the preparation of raw material, up to the time needed to produce the final product. Determination of the time for delivering raw materials and delivering final products, and so on. Scheduling is affected by several factors such as capacity and size of the business, the availability of staff, machinery, and materials. A more detailed schedule will ensure better use of resources and effective control of the whole process. Now we're looking at loading. Loading involves the allocation of every person to a specific task and machine. It is linked to the output required to fulfill orders and the prevention of overloading employees and machines. The following aspects can be considered. It involves planning who will be responsible for each activity identified during the routing process. It allocates every person to his task or machine. Loading calculates the amount of time each machine will need to operate during the day. It also indicates which machines are not being used to their full capacity. So it doesn't make sense if we are only getting one machine to work, let's say 10 minutes of the day. Okay, so we need to make sure that every person and every machine is being used to their full capacity. We can't have John that's working from 8 until 4, right? And he's working full out. And then we have Jimmy who's only working for 2 hours of the day because we didn't plan him in properly. Okay, and also don't wait for your employees to tell you that they're not being used to full capacity, because some may take advantage of it. Some may sit back and say, you know what, the boss isn't noticing that I'm only working 2 hours a day, yet John is actually killing himself with the amount of hours he's working. They might not bring it to your attention. So that's why we need to look at it. And I think constantly review the process and look, are we using everyone to their full capacity and every machine to their full capacity? If not, we need to go back to planning and replan how we are using our resources. Loading is linked to the output required to fulfill orders and prevent the overloading of employees and machines. The advantages of production planning. So, if production is well executed, planning allows the business to ensure that, as I mentioned, every machine and every worker is being used to their full capacity and not left with nothing to do. A business can ensure that it has the correct amounts of supplies and stock at any given time. Planning reduces waste and unnecessary storing costs. Planning will prevent time from being wasted, and it will increase the number of final products. The planning process involves quality checks, ensures that the correct quality is reached, and that production time is decreased. The meaning of production control. Okay, the diagrams look the same, so just be careful you don't confuse them. We have production planning and production control. So production control will control each individual task and action during the production process. It will also establish the starting and finishing of each task. So these are the aspects. We can also look at them as steps to consider during production control. We have dispatch, inspection, follow-up, and corrective action. All right, dispatching. This stage of the process involves issuing production orders to start production. It converts planning into action. Dispatch will provide orders for the following: the movement of materials, tools, and equipment to the necessary locations. Checking the time and costs involved in the process. Checking the flow of work according to the routing. Supervising the whole process. Therefore, dispatching is the process of identifying the person who will do the work and supplying with him or her the specifications and the materials list. Inspection. Inspection involves checking the quality of the process and the final product. It can be done at regular intervals during the production process, and it can be done at the end. Inspection methods include the following: random selection and testing of products, viewing of products, and sampling and testing products. During the control process, the legal and regulatory process are also checked to ensure that the necessary standards are met. So a few months ago, there was a peanut butter issue in South Africa. It was I might be pronouncing this wrong, the aflatoxin levels were too high in peanut butter. So where did they notice this? Inspection. So now obviously they would have produced the products and maybe control wasn't done. I'm not sure, I can't speak on behalf of them. But once quality testing was done, it was realized and they discovered, whoa, hold on, the aflatoxin levels are too high and this is dangerous and it's a risk for the health of their customers. Hence why they recalled all that stock and they actually asked customers to bring it back and they got a full refund for that. So that's where Legal and regulatory processes need to be involved. When we are looking at products that are consumable, there is a certain level of the ingredients that we can put in a product. So where the sugar comes in, where the fats and the oils and all of that. So if the levels are too high, then obviously it's going against the standards that are set out. Hence why also a couple years ago, sugar tax came into play, because the government tried to assist with the obesity rates and the health of the people of South Africa, and therefore they put in sugar tax. So if you're going to buy regular Coke, it's going to be taxed, which is more expensive than Coke Zero. Just notice that. That's why when you go to McDonald's and you are paying extra, I think it's either 2 Rand or 7 Rand for buying regular Coke, that is why, because you are actually covering the sugar tax costs. All right, follow-up. During the follow-up process, the business makes sure that the scheduling and production systems are running according to the plan. The follow-up process will evaluate the following aspects. So we look at unplanned issues or problems that could occur, any misunderstandings in terms of the job process requirements. It indicates whether the activities are happening as they are planned. Following up on the progress is essential, and it helps to prevent bottlenecks and misunderstandings. Corrective action. Corrective action must involve any adjustments to the planning process. Corrective action can include activities such as service and repairs of machinery, adjustments on routing, scheduling, and loading, training of workers and sorting out other staff issues, transferring workers to other departments. All right, explaining safety management. Every business and factory needs to have a safety precautions in the workplace. Even more so if the factory is handling or working with dangerous chemicals, dangerous machinery, and harmful substances. Businesses are compelled by law to have the necessary safety policies and precautions in place. Reasons for businesses to manage safety in the workplace. The 3 main reasons for safety in the workplace are legal, so they have to abide by them by law. They are morals, so this is taking care of the workers, and financial, to not be sued or fined if they are not following the correct safety procedure. The following are some of the reasons why businesses need to manage safety in the workplace. Workplace accidents can result in injuries and even deaths, and can result in possible financial trouble for the business. The publicity of workplace accidents will negatively impact a business's image. Regular or serious workplace accidents may even cause investors to withdraw their money and invest their money in another company. Employees may lose confidence in the business and leave it or join safer companies. Potential employees may decide not to accept a job offer at a business where many accidents have occurred. Requirements for a safe environment. For a business to be safe, it needs to do the following. It needs to have a safety policy, visual warning signs, first aid kits, safe working environment, and precautionary measures when handling machinery. Okay, we're going to look at each one in further detail. Safety policy. Businesses should draw up their own safety policy and enforce necessary control measures. Okay, a safety policy perhaps is if you're working in a mine, you have to have a hard hat. If you are working with strong chemicals, you must have a mask or gas mask on. In laboratories, they often wear those lab coats, and they have to wear safety boots. Those are the type of things that need to be in the policy. The policy also needs to include that should an incident occur, they must report it in 3-4 working days, whatever the policy states. And then obviously, who do they report their injuries and accidents to? Visible warning signs. The necessary warning signs should be visible in the workplace. The business should inform employees of any dangers in the workplace. So if someone is cleaning the floor, there needs to be a yellow rectangular sign that says caution, floor is wet. Or they need to have, if there's a steep step, that most people fall on, then it needs to say caution step or caution of a unsteady staircase, or whatever the case is. They need to have those warning signs there. First aid kits. Businesses are required to have an up-to-date first aid kit in an easily accessible place. Okay, it can't be in the boss's office and the boss never comes to work. Just silly example. It needs to be somewhere where everyone can get access to it should they need it. The reason they say up to date is obviously if I'm using a first aid kit and I've used all the bandages, it needs to be replaced. If the disinfectants have run out, they need to be replaced. Okay, according to law, at least one employee should be trained in first aid and he or she should be available on site. Safe working environment. There should be no hazardous substances that can cause damage, disease, or injury to employees or visitors. Information, instructions, and training should be provided to all employees. Workers should be informed of the potential safety and health hazards. The purpose of a workplace safety policy. To maintain a safety culture within a business, it is important for the businesses to set up a safety policy. The safety policy should outline how safety is managed, by whom it is managed, and how it is measured. The safety policy should be endorsed by the leader of the business, which makes them accountable for the ongoing success of the safety system. This document outlines when and how, and it should consider 3 core parts. These parts are: it should consider a statement of intent or what the company intends to do. This is a written policy statement that shows workers and any interested parties of the business that they commit to safety. Company details, or who will be involved. Those who have responsibility for health and safety matters in the business. Arrangements, or how to implement the policy. An explanation on how businesses will control the main hazards identified during the risk assessment. All right, aspects that need to be included in the workplace safety policy. The following aspects must be included in a safety policy. It must acknowledge the right of each employee to work in a safe and healthy environment. It must be visible and displayed for all workers to see. It must recognize the need to comply with the minimum standards of OHSA, which is the Occupational Health and Safety Act. It must recognize the priority and safety in relation to other organizational goals and policies. There must be a starting date and a date when the policy will be reviewed. The policy must include the signature of the CEO. It must stipulate the responsibility of management for occupational health and safety programs. Now we're looking at evaluating a workplace safety policy and making recommendations for improvement. The Health and Safety Executive requires businesses to review their health and safety policy every year. The reason every year is because there could be different diseases that come up. We obviously need to ensure that we are constantly staying up to date and making sure that our safety policy is relevant. However, businesses may decide to review the policy every 12 months, once every 6 months, or even more frequently than that, if the workplace is changing rapidly. Businesses can use different indicators such as safety audits to measure activities to prevent or reduce the severity of an incident in the present or future. Some employers make use of the 4 safe steps for risk assessment. So we have spot the hazard, assess the risk, fix the problem, and evaluate the results. Precautionary measures to take when handling machinery. Any machinery, whether it is large or small, can cause serious injuries. Businesses should take the following precautionary measures and see to it that it is executed by the employees. Every employee must be familiar with the safety procedures of the business. Management must strive to develop a culture of safety within the workplace. The business must ensure that all machinery and equipment is correctly installed and safe to use. All the workers must be properly trained on how to use the machinery, and they must be informed about the risks when using the machinery. Regular safety checks must be carried out, and machinery should be maintained and serviced regularly. Workers need to wear protective gear and clothing. This includes items like overalls, safety helmets, masks, heavy-duty safety boots, welding goggles when working with machinery and equipment. Hard hats should always be worn on construction sites by all persons on the site. So, handling machinery. Okay, let's think of a butchery. They are literally cutting meat and bones. I think of that one machine where they just slide the meat and it slices it in the middle. Or even there's that other one. I don't know the names of these guys. I mean, I became a teacher for a reason. So I know how to teach and how to deliver content. But when it comes to some of these machineries and cars, you know me, I'm not so clued up on those. All right, but just bear with me for example's sake. So there's also that other one where they take a huge block of ham and they slice it thinly. They just like slice it thinly into small little slices of ham. So look at that type of machinery. Easily someone can cut a finger, cut an arm, cut a hand off. So they need to first of all be trained on how to use that equipment, the do's and don'ts of the equipment. Make sure that it is safe to use that equipment. And very importantly, machinery needs to be repaired often, and it needs to be checked because certain machinery needs oil to operate and move. Now, if it doesn't have the oil, it's obviously going to burn out. And burn out could mean fire, and that's dangerous for the workplace. All right, the purpose of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. All right, grade 11s, this is very, very important. This gets done in grade 12 in term 1. You have a lot of acts to do, but if you study this hard in grade 11 and you know it, it makes it so much easier for grade 12 because it's the same content. All right, so the main aims of the Occupational Health and Safety Act are to protect the health and safety and welfare of employees and to safeguard others, principally the public who are exposed to risks from work activity. The purpose of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. It protects the health and safety and welfare of employees. It outlines the roles and responsibilities of employers, employees, and manufacturers and suppliers regarding health and safety within the workplace. The following are the outlines or the requirements of this act. Businesses must establish and maintain a safe working environment without risking the health of workers. Businesses must frequently review the efficiency of health and safety measures. The roles and responsibilities of employers, employees, manufacturers, designers, importers, suppliers, and sellers must be outlined for all to know. Businesses must clarify the roles and duties of the health and safety representatives and committee. All main dangers and potential incidents of the business must be identified and eliminated and communicated to all workers. Businesses must examine the causes of accidents by any employee relating to the employee's health and safety at work. It must encourage employees to cooperate and follow the necessary instructions and to report any unsafe situations. The business must take presentations concerning general health and safety issues at the workplace. So, ways that businesses can comply with this act. According to the act, all employers or owners of companies have a legal duty to ensure the health and safety of all of their employees in the workplace. Therefore, employers must ensure that their workplace is compliant with the Occupational Health and Safety Act requirements. Ways in which a business can comply. It can provide workers with protective gear to protect themselves against potentially dangerous situations. There we spoke about the hard hats, the overalls, and so on. Ensure that the first aid boxes are readily available at the workplace and they are in the factory. Make fire extinguishers available at the workplace and the factory, and these fire extinguishers need to be serviced regularly. Machinery must be maintained at regular intervals and repaired promptly. All right, defining quality control. Quality control. Businesses must ensure that their products meet the correct standards and that their products are always of the same standard. To meet the required standards, businesses must conduct quality checks before, during, and at the end of the production process. Quality must be a part of the culture of any business. Quality control, therefore, is the process of ensuring that products are made to consistently high standards, inspecting the final product to ensure that it meets these required standards. Now we're looking at total quality management system as part of a quality management system. Again, grade 11s, this is done in quality of performance in term 2 for grade 12. So again, if you study it hard and you know it in grade 11, it just makes it a bit easier for grade 12. Total quality management is an integrated system or methodology applied throughout the organization. It helps to design, produce, provide quality products and services to customers. It is a system developed by the Japanese in which the entire business is operated to focus on customer satisfaction in all business activities. TQM enables businesses to continuously improve on the quality of products and services to satisfy the needs of customers. The following aspects of TQM form part of the quality management system. Total quality management, which means quality needs to be managed totally. Okay, a little play on words there, but it means that quality must be ensured from the first time I speak to a customer all the way to the end. So when a customer answers the phone, are you friendly? Are you professional? That's part of total quality management. When they receive their product during sales, are you friendly? Are you helpful? Are you explaining the product to them? If there's a problem with the product after sales, are you helping them? Are you explaining to them? Are you being professional? So we're not just looking at, are we producing quality products? No. Are we ensuring quality is being done from beginning to end? Any time that the customer deals with a person in the business, is it being handled as quality? All right. So let's look there. TQM involves every part of the business, and quality is everyone's responsibility, which includes every department and every employee. The main aim of TQM is to improve the quality of products and services to satisfy the needs of customers beyond the expectations. Continuous improvement is the foundation of TQM. This means all techniques, systems, and machinery must be subjected to continuous improvement. We can't just look at quality once and then we know that's the way we're going to do things and that's the way we're leaving it. No, we need to constantly review and look at improving our products, improving the way we do things, making it better for the customer. That's where we're talking about continuous quality. It is responsible of each employee to take care of his or her quality. Machinery and equipment are checked regularly. All inputs, including raw material, are checked thoroughly, and discussions are held on how to improve the quality. Management ensures that each employee is responsible for the quality of his or her work and actions. The roles of quality bodies in setting quality standards. Various quality control bodies take part in setting and controlling the standards of quality in different industries. In this section, we're going to learn about 3 types of quality control bodies. So we have SABS, ISO, and quality circles. Let's dive into each of them specifically. So SABS, South African Bureau of Standards. SABS is a national standardization authority established by the government to ensure that South African businesses meet a range of standards. The SABS is responsible for developing, maintaining, and publishing standards for products and services. They have a database of more than 6,500 national standards, and their headquarters is in Pretoria. The SABS carries out different tasks to ensure quality in South Africa. So, here's what they look at. They set and publish national standards. They provide training regarding all aspects of standardization. They provide information on international and national standards. They test and certify products and services against these standards. It monitors and enforces legal regulations. It promotes design excellence. Businesses who will earn an SABS mark after their products were tested thoroughly to ensure that they meet the necessary standards. Their SABS mark assures that the product complies with the safety requirements, and therefore the product needs to be tested frequently. So if you're looking at, when you go look in a grocery store, just go look. I know I've seen it on packets of chips. It's in a little rectangle and it says SABS. If it has that mark in it, it means that it meets the quality. And when, again, we're going back to quality standards, it means, is there any chemicals in there that are harmful to the customer? Looking back at the peanut butter, obviously it didn't meet the standards. That's why they withdrew and they brought back all the products. So it's really good for our business if we have this stamp and this mark on our product, because customers know the product is safe. The product is healthy for them. The product is fine. There's nothing in there that's going to harm them or damage their health. Now we're looking at ISO. So ISO is very similar. It's just international. Let's dive in. International Organization for Standardization. The ISO certification certifies that a management system, production process, service, or documentation procedure has all the requirements for standardization and quality assurance. ISO standards are in place to ensure international consistency. It sets out procedures a business should follow to ensure that its final product meets its promises and customers' expectations. Below is information on the functioning of ISO. ISO 9000 is a set of internationally recognized standards for different industries. ISO standards are used in many countries all over the world. Industries can measure their quality management system against these international standards. Accreditation with ISO acts as a signal to customers that the business takes its quality commitments seriously and it continually strives to improve its operations. So imagine if you have a product, you're selling biscuits, and it's got SABS stamp of approval and ISO. How amazing is that going to be for your customers, for your business? And that's the importance of these quality control bodies. All right, then we have quality circles. A quality circle or quality control circle is a group of workers who do the same or similar work and who meet regularly to identify, analyze, and solve work-related problems. It consists of a minimum of 3 to a maximum of 12 members. The roles of quality circles are defined below. Okay, again, before we dive in, just on there with quality circles, the way that I picture it is literally employees sitting in a circle, maybe weekly, and they discuss things that have gone wrong, things that have gone right, how can they improve on quality, and they basically sit in the circle, quality circle, and discuss their problems and their issues and how to constantly improve. All right, so things that they look at. Quality circles are groups of employees who work in different departments. So for example, they may work in production, marketing, purchasing, and finance, but who deal directly or indirectly with the product or service. They meet regularly to discuss how quality, efficiency, and productivity can be improved. They analyze products with the production process and brainstorm solutions. Employees are often best placed to know how to improve quality. Typical topics discussed by quality circles include improving safety, improving product design, and the manufacturing processes. The ideal size of a quality circle is 3 to 12 members. Quality circles form part of TQM in the business. The reason they form part of TQM is because we said the quality circle is people that come from different departments, which means we are ensuring quality in every department. All right, so mind map recap time. So there's a nice little mind map, just a short snippet of the aspects that we have gone through. Here are the resources I made use of to make this video for today. I did mention them at the beginning of my video and they will be posted down below. I just want to say thank you for watching the video today. Grade 11s, I wish you all the very best of luck for the June exams for paper 1 and paper 2. If my videos have been helpful and if you found a lot of insight and they're knowledgeable, please give my channel and my video a like and please consider subscribing to my channel. As you see, I post videos for grades 10, 11 and grade 12 for business studies. Wish you guys all the best and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye for now.